Oh, I can't do anything. I just want to know how many points I had. Oh, I think you have 3 points. I think we're gonna next time add to it. Okay, let's see. We got to the asteroid. Let's see what we can do here then. Okay, we have that, and we have service. Then we have we should pick this one because the skills I have isn't really that good for this one. Don't really have. Our dice is not that good. So I don't want to put any stress on it. 4. It's not really that good. What is this? 25. Neutral is not good for this. That's the problem. We have a 75% chance for not. Come on. That's okay. Can we use her? Could use a push, but not really worth it. We could get to 4, but it's still 3. 2 is 50-50. It's a little bit too risky. It is 75% chance, so we should be okay. Oh. We get this to a 3, but that is a 4 here. That's not good enough. No, don't want to There's a push for this. We can do here. Okay, we have that goal. This should be done. Oh, come on, man. What the heck? Yeah, so I'm not gonna be able to do this then, or? Looks like we are not gonna be able to make this one. Oh yeah, thanks for the follow, David. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to do this one. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get the core. Unless I have sixes and we get down to 4. We are really lucky with the rolls. Like I'm gonna hopefully be lucky here. Stress, do a push. Come on. Positive, positive, positive. Neutral on it. Okay. And this is gonna be eek. Yeah, I kind of have to sacrifice this. We won't be able to do anything there. We can get a free. Be lucky, 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 positive. Yeah, I have to. Separate core, long and weighty cylinder of cloudy eyes comes out of the borehole cleanly. Glows in the sunlight, catching the rays in its frosted interior. Nicely done, sleeper, Bliss chirps through the comms. I never caught an asteroid before, but the result is pretty. Let's just hope it's drinkable. Let's not melt it down for liquid refreshment just yet, Seraphine chimes in. It's likely packed with unpleasant impurities. The question is, are the kind of impurities the far spindle can filter out? Let's get up to the ship and we can run the analysis on the trip back, Seraphine pauses. And before you get any ideas about digging around on the asteroid some more, remember that if you break away any of the ice, Malik will likely dock our pay. Start the journey back up to the ship, dragging the sample core with you. As you do, you look back down at the asteroid, wondering if it might be the bargaining chip Malik has been looking for. You'll know soon enough. Cold never bothered me. What do we have here? Okay. Oh, I don't want to do more stress. We can stay one more. Oh, come on, man. I can't do this. Yep, we can have one more cycle, then we have to leave. Can be out of food here. Yeah, no, we can repair it again. A flicking screen catches your eye in the dark of the bunker. A distorted female face, further refracted by the surrounding eyes, stares at you from the terminal with blank white eyes. You move closer, straining to hear her voice, but the recording is silent, or perhaps the terminal's audio output is broken. All you can do is watch the pale white face as it contorts through the corruption and noise. Could be explaining some important secret, long forgotten, or just recounting a personal anecdote. It's hard to tell. Circles and curving arcs flash across the face. Graphical visualizations of orbits and flight plans. You squint at them, the shapes unknown to you. Then, as soon as it starts, the playback ends, leaving a frozen frame on the screen, a ghost face circled by orbits. You slot a drive into the terminal and copy what the module data is left, unsure where it might lead you. Once it is done, you shut off the terminal once and for all. As you leave the bunker, the pale face flashes once more in your mind. Those blank eyes, the flat stare, is that a human or something else? You turn the image over in your mind, unsure of its importance. Okay. Leave. Something flickers in the back of your mind. You stop. You have to stop. Blink it away. It is a tightness behind your left eye, an aching point that refuses to move. Then the voice begins, hissing through the background noise of the rigged systems, a new whine amongst the chorus of the life support and ventilation. Sleeper, the hiss brings Lane's sharp features to mind. I suppose you thought you had slipped my net. Export jumps into your mind, an image of the stations emulating in white light, though you were not conscious to witness it. You are distant, his voice hisses into white noise, but you're not free of me yet. I'm coming, Sleeper, the hiss drops, and I will retake control of what is mine. The closer I come to you, the more you will feel it. Lane moves your finger to tap your forehead. In here. Until you cannot resist. Bright smile, pale eyes, a growing hiss that hurts. Then the hiss is gone, the rig suddenly quiet, the stinging tightness diffusing behind your eyes, but the fear remains. Sleeper? You good? Seraphine is there, floating by your berth. You were talking. Lane is coming. Seraphine looks alarmed. You feel him, right? He looks away. We can use that. Stay ahead of him. He squeezes your shoulder. We can do this. We are fast and smart. Keep moving. We don't stay anywhere for long. And we find a way. He frowns. Somehow. You nod. You do not know how Lane is able to reach into your mind like this. How is he able to speak into you? But you want so desperately for it to stop. You must find out what he has done to you before it's too late. You must stay ahead of Lane at all costs. Sleeper? Seraphine catches your attention as you go to leave the ship. Can I have a minute? Of course. Seraphine ducks into a maintenance passage and waits for you to follow. In the narrow passage, framed by loose wires and thick conduit, Seraphine looks suddenly small, trapped. He looks at an open circuitry panel as he speaks, avoiding your gaze. You see he's playing with a coin in his hand, nervously spinning it in the air. Since we cleared Hexport, I've been putting feelers out for something. He rubs his hands nervously. I've been in the belt a long time, and I came here alone, but back on Darkside, just before we made a break for it. I heard something. I heard someone was looking for me. He pauses, trying to organize his thoughts. Please have to. I also heard something else. They said the person looking for me claimed to be my sister. He waits for your reaction. You have a sister? I did, yeah, or I do. He shakes his head. But I don't even know if it's really her. Just because someone says they're my sister. Well, I can't be sure. Thing is, I haven't seen my sister in a long time. I was still a kid when I left. So was she. Though I don't think she would have liked to admit it at the time. He smiles to himself. I know you don't remember how it was. Back in Darkside, I mean. He sighs. But we were alone, you and me. Lane didn't let us out much. Just to work. That was all. But when I overheard one of these guys mention someone was sniffing around, trying to find me, I didn't know what to think. He frowns. Then, here he could have been my sister. He goes quiet. You try to recall that time the cycle spent under Lane's influence, working for him in exchange for stabilizer. You close your eyes, focus, but the details flicker. The images collapse and reform. Seraphine told you this before. Was this all part of your plan? You wanted to go find her? Yes, he shrugs. It changed things for me. I thought that she could be out there. Don't get me wrong, I wanted to get you out of there too. Pauses and you sense he's finding this difficult. I know it doesn't matter now, but I told you about her back then. Before. I'm sorry I don't remember. It's okay, Sleeper. I understand. Since we got away, since Hexport, I've been asking around, speaking to spaces traders, and like I said, something has finally come up. It seems whoever was trading me left Darkside pretty soon after Utsubo caught wind of her sniffing around. I doubt they made her feel very welcome, but I managed to get a name. The name she gave, Luz, wasn't my sister's, but that doesn't mean much. It gave me something to follow. She bounced around the wash a little. Far spindle, flotsam, not sure why. He squints at the loose wire. The last thing she did was book passage to Wellspring on a Lothic freighter. That's it. Well, I could have helped. I want something concrete, something clear. You wanna help? Now's your chance. I want to go to Wellspring, Sleeper, to know if it's really her. If it isn't, to settle what needs settling. Well, now is not the time. Yeah, now is not the time. Right, he looks away, but I need to do this. He takes a breath, with or without you. Don't go, just not now. He nods and says nothing. Well, that's it. Seraphin squeezes past you in the car and glides back towards the engine room. You watch him go, wondering what other parts of your past together have been lost. Sleeper! Cadet drifts from the shadows outside Bliss's Bay, looking around nervously as she approaches. Seems like I'm going to need her to call in that favor. Her face is pale and deathly serious. You okay? She doesn't seem to hear you, distracted by a group of spaces gliding noisily down the passage behind her. She waits until they pass. Someone hits strip line. No idea where Kamal is. Bunch of goons tearing the place apart as we speak. She screws up her face in pain. Even tried to grab me, but those muscle heads are slow. Wait, why? Remember that package I asked for your help with? The one that was bothering me? Remember you mentioning it? Reckon it's got something to do with it. The job was a bust, and I express ran all the way to the underhang, but when I got there, no one home. He's whispering now, leaning closer. The place was smashed up like someone got there first. Should have dumped the package and run, but I brought it back like a good girl. Dashed it in a safe spot at strip line. Thought the sender might come to recover it, and when it didn't, well, I got curious. Popped it open. She shakes her head. Stupid thing to do. Inside was a drive encrypted to hell and back. When I ran into you, well, I heard sleepers are good with data, with tech, so I thought you might be able to take a look at it. Shrugs. Now strip line's trash too. Here's the thing, she glanced around. Back when I popped it open, I noticed the drive had a dispatch marker. Export. Could it be connected to Hexport getting atomized? Yeah, that's where I'm at too. This thing was sent out from there just before it got cooked. She pauses, and with that, with the kind of attention I've been getting the past couple of cycles, she slips a hand terminal from her bag, taps a couple of times, and holds it up to you. Cadet stares out at you from the screen, straight-faced and pale. Beside her picture, you see in block capitals: Spindlejack, KDA 754, in breach of FAR spindle codes B12 plus F34. Reward for information leading to capture, considered dangerous. Dickheads blasted it out on the transit channels. Every Spindlejack hauler and track carrier is going to be watching for me. She pulls back the hand terminal, angrily stuffing it away in her bag. Something's going on. Anyone who can help? She looks away. Spindlejack's don't make friends easily, and now all the curious I do know are looking to turn me in for payout. She snaps her head to the side, her eyes flashing with anger. Why do you think I'm here? Time for the favor, Sleeper, she meets you. My connections are burned. Hell, my whole career is gone. I need to fight back. If I walk away, there's nothing to walk away to. She softens a little. I need your help. What can I do? I need to get the drive, she takes a breath. If they want it that much, then I can use it to buy my way out of this shit show. I tucked it away somewhere safe, so my guess is they haven't got to it yet. You just slip in, I give you the location and pull the thing out. She folds her arms. Should be simple. None of this is simple. Just snatch it and go, don't overthink it. Look, this thing turns out to be worth something. You get your due. All I want is my life back. Drive is in the workshop. There's a loose panel behind the air bike rack. She leans in. It's taped to the back of the fuse box inside. I got to keep heading down Spindle to the overhang, past the end of the transit tunnels. No one will wrap me out there. She glances around. I'll come to find you when it's done. She got some network access. I'll know when you go in. She winks, offering no further explanation. Bike's locked up nearby. I'm gonna hop. She pauses. Do me this favor, then we are clear. Stay safe. Do my best, Sleeper. She gives you a mock salute. She slips back into the shadows, and a few moments later you hear the percussive pulse of an air bike accelerating away. You know? At least, but it's like to be on the run. You flee your life, and in that you feel an empathy, a connection with Cadet. But from every other angle, this thing looks like bad news. The kind of sensible person would stay well clear of from. Perhaps you would stay well clear if it wasn't for one detail that has stuck in your mind. The drive is from export. Is all that enough to send you down to Stripline in search of that drive? Only time will tell. On the journey back from the asteroid, you poured over the test Malik had given you to run, improvising necessary equipment from your mess. Each one produced spools of data, much of which you couldn't parse. Arriving into the vicinity of the far spindle, you broadcast these strings of data to Malik's personal terminal on the springtide as instructed. Despite all this preparation, you are still surprised when you found Malik standing at the far side of the docking tunnel as you leave the rig. Sleeper, he nods neatly at you. I thought it was better I come down here, away from my crew, to discuss your findings. Trust issues? I trust my crew implicitly, he clasps his hands, but they, like me, are members of the Lothic Syndicate, so they answer to an authority higher than mine, one that rewards loyalty and obedience. He smiles. I am simply guarding my position as captain, as any other would. The suspected Esther was indeed rich with water ice. Thankfully, the contaminants can be dealt with. Speaks matter-of-factly, betraying little emotion. With the data you provided, I should be able to convince the far spindle administration of its worth. Then we good? Mary smiles. That remains to be seen. Before I make payment, I would like to ask in person if you saw anything else of consequence, anything to share with me that might affect my dealings with the far spindle. Holds his arms across his chest. I would prefer not to have any surprises when I go to retrieve the water. There was a shaft. Interesting, Malik smiles. It is likely of no consequence, but if there is something of value there, it could play to my benefit. I will mention the potential of additional salvage to the far spindle administration. Given the data, it doesn't seem to have impacted the ice. Malik reaches into his pocket and produces a stack of cryo sheets, bound carefully with a strip of paper. 250 cryo, as agreed. Take the sheets and quickly tuck them away. With that, our business is concluded, Sleeper. Malik nods slightly. I must speak with the administration to negotiate the release of my ship and then prepare for immediate departure. Syndicate will be eager for my successful return. Thank you. Malik bows and turns. Should our paths cross again, I will see that it will be to your benefit. Okay, let's see here. We need to repair dice. Lane is hunting you once again. His progress will be tracked by the hunt clock. If this is filled, he will catch up with you. It will increase once every cycle you spend in a hub. However, each time you travel, the hunt will be reduced by 3. If you keep moving, you can stay one step ahead of Lane. Why can't I? Okay. What the heck just happened with the game? I can't do anything. I can move the dice around. But I can't move around, it just moves the background. Something is wrong there. Because I couldn't click anything. Okay, now we are. Let's see, we click here. Yeah, see, this is supposed to pop up here. Gonna buy scraps maybe. The one is still not all done. This is just should work. Okay. we got 3 points. You know what? I think I'm gonna wait one more point and get this one. Oops. 22. Yeah. And here. Damn it. Yep. Wait one round. Nice. Dun, 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 dun. What do we need for Flotsam? We have what we need. That's the next place we need to go to. But help cadet trapping. Oh. Okay. Starving, but we just go and eat. Let's eat. Doing so much. The forest been an exhausting place to find freelance. There's no shortage of spaces here. Forest and base throng with crew inbound and outbound, on or between contracts, trading stories, contacts, and materials. Whatever language, appearance, or code identifies someone as worth signing on with, you don't seem to have it. Perhaps it is because you're a new face, or are noticeably unsure, or perhaps it's just because you're asleep. You push the thought to the back of your mind and instead focus on what's in front of you. Vast cylindrical tank at the center of Gaia's gear. First time you entered the bar, you floated open mouthed, much like the older new arrivals do, at the sight of the huge kelp stack. The biggest you have ever seen, even now your eyes fixed on the fronds of seaweed that wave in the circulating water beyond the curve of dirty glass. You find it impressive. Take a sip of the harsh, saline-scented rack from its magnetic vessel. Secure to the bar, as you suck on the straw, your eyes following the shifting fronds, you hear someone clear their throat beside you at the bar. Hypnotic, isn't it? The voice is low and rumbling. It comes from the large figure on the stool next to you. The fluorescent lights behind the bar glint in his eyes, shining up into his wide, rough face. Zhu Yin, huh? Heard talk you're hiring. The figure turns to face you. You don't recognize him, but in the shifting light of Gar's Gaia, that isn't surprising. And you are? Eugene, currently freelance. He turns on his stool and leans back a little. The effect is clearly meant to impress on you his size, and you have to admit, it works. Served in a whole slate of crews out of the spindle, carriers, mercs, extractors. He smiles and places a broad hand on his chest. Broad skill set, good work ethic, sense of humor, the full package. Humble too. He clucks with his tongue, smiling. I like you already, we're going to get on. I run anything out of the far spindle. I'm tough and quiet and you won't need to worry about me. He folds his arms across his chest. What kind of work are we talking about? Before you can answer, a voice echoes out from behind you. You're in! You look over your shoulder of the source of the shout. Do you see us ever, I see? Less now. A group of free spaces drifts up behind you, one of them placing a heavy hand on your shoulder. She is fitted with metal optical implants so you cannot see her eyes. The caustic light from the tank plays across her face. Too busy to keep in touch. She sighs. I really don't like it when I have to come and find you. Vesna? Eugene nods politely at her, not betraying any strong reaction. Do I look like I'm socializing? He shakes his head. This is a meeting. Oh, a meeting! Vesna squeezes your shoulder. Is that what this is? Yes, Vesna. We are talking about your delivery, in fact. Eugene smiles widely. My friend here is being very helpful. He shoots you a knowing glance. Well, I've seen people giving it 7 and 8 too. It seems to have a lot of bugs here and there. Or at least for some people. And combat seems still to be... One wrote that if you didn't like the combat in the first one, you might have issue liking in the second one. I didn't. No, I haven't watched any. I just read summarizes on the Reddit on games. They have like a summary of each one, what they just wrote and what score they gave. It's like a summarize from all of the different reviewers. I don't go to any other places to check. I don't want to read more. That's right. Person turns to you with a raised eyebrow, but before she can speak, Eugene cuts in. The sleep has the unique ability to extract data. Eugene smiles at Vesna. Exactly the kind of data you've been asking for. If you can just get back to it. Eugene gestures towards it. I can deliver what you need. You know, Eugene, I'm pretty tired of this whole act. She gestures dismissively at him. But in the end, it doesn't matter. She drops her hand from his shoulder to her belt. Your eyes follow it down and you see a dark boxy shape there. A weapon? You either deliver by the deadline or you don't. And when you don't, she smiles tightly. I'll be happy to take you through the consequences. Until then, she shoots you a final glance. Chat to whoever the hell you want. Vesna and two spaces flanking her glide out of the bar and Eugene watches them go with a little emotion. So, Eugene smiles returns. You were about to hire me. Don't get ahead of yourself. Eugene sighs. I'm serious about working. Are you serious about hiring me? I want to know what that was about. Vesna, he's right. She's just trying to rush me, that's all. I won't be working with her again. He pauses, choosing his words carefully. Of course, I can't talk about the particulars. You understand? Vesna just wants to scare you off. She likes to cause me trouble. Eugene looks away, out of the door of the bar. Let's not let her. Pausing in silence for a moment, still looking away, you try to get a read on him, but his face is blank. Only his glittering eyes hint at some rapid internal activity. He turns back to you and meets your eye, and suddenly shifting his manner obvious. If you need crew, you need to work. If you need to work, you need cryo. Is that right? He doesn't stop for your answer. Well, I can offer both. Hard work and a good contract with a good payout. You take me with you on this job of mine and we split the cake. He looks down, thinking. Hell, if you do, I'll consider signing on long term. He smiles. Think of that. No more recruiting. What's the job? Salvage, she leans in. Another wreck untouched by the local crews which recently turned up in the wash. Just a little sunward from here, but its disabled transponder makes it invisible to anyone who doesn't know it's there. Now, I also started the free download of the game. Had to squeeze the location out of contact, but I'll share it with you for a straight split. Take me and your crew and we'll claim it all. It's going to be a good payout. He winks. A really good one. So what's the catch? Jin frowns. No catch. He leans back and looks around the bar. Happy to take the offer elsewhere. I just felt like you were the right captain for this one. I'm ready to go whenever you like. Eugene pauses. As a show of good faith, I'll also fly out with you on any job from the forest window. But I'm not leaving the station with you yet. Not till we get my job done first. After that we can talk flying together. No need to rush into it. He shakes your hand firmly, his palm rough and pitted, and turns back to his drink. Slip out to the bar, look and see if Vesna is nearby. You don't spot her among the passing crews, but you can't help but imagine eyes on you in the bar. Shake it off, having become familiar with the feeling of being observed. What matters is you have found yourself a crew member and a contract. Whether either will come good, however, remains to be seen. Holy crap, we have 6 points now all of a sudden. Okay, let's get this one. And we're gonna get this one. Okay. Have you started a pre-download, Moonwalker? Yeah, I did a bit of it. I think I got 40 gig downloaded. But then I had to start the stream, so... You slide the loose panel away from the wall, letting it float here beside the air bike rack. Behind it in the dark you see the blinking lights of the fuse box. But I will download it when I go to bed, so it's all done when I wake up and ready for it when I get back home. Nose nearby draws your attention for a moment. The scrape of a sliding door, maybe. We got some old systems cycling in the walls. Look long enough to gain access to the strip line express bike garage, and longer still to find a safe route to the air bike racks. But you're almost there. You have seen and heard a higher muscle searching and guarding this place, but been lucky enough not to come face to face with them. Yep. Turn back to the darkness behind the panel. If what that satisfied, the drive is taped to the back of the fuse box in front of you. You reach through and around, slowly, carefully, and your hand settles on something cold and metallic in the dark. It's taped firmly to the box. Pull at it, but it doesn't budge. A quiet rattle echoes from the dispatch office next to you, and you freeze for a second. It seems Cadet was a little too enthusiastic with the tape. Feel good. You close your eyes and feel for the seams of the tape. You peel it back swiftly and quietly, piece by piece, and then the drive spins into your hand. Time to move. Slip the drive inside your coat and kick away from the wall, gliding back towards the maintenance corridor you enter from. You listen carefully as you do. You hear nothing but a satisfying silence. The cool darkness of maintenance corridor is comforting as you tuck yourself inside and start carefully making your way to the back of the strip line. You shift through the maze of passages that brought you here. The dog legs and dead ends now familiar. Eventually you spot a thin slit of light ahead, marking the loose panel you level open to gain entrance. You take a deep breath, almost there. Yeah, I think that is one thing that might chase people away from the game, is the combat, but that's about it. As you reach the gap, you freeze. Voices rumble from beyond. Peering through, you see two figures in dark clothes searching the chaotic bay behind the strip line. Your eyes are drawn to the dark boxy weapon one holds at the side. Shit, you hiss silently to yourself, your eyes searching for a path through. You wait, silent and still as the figures search. They split and drift across the bay. You take a chance, sliding open the panel and slipping behind the scrap and boxes at the edge of the room. You work your way around until you can't get any further. You kick off hard, making a dash for the far side of the bay and the public passage beyond. Yeah. Now, Well, I decided I'm gonna go for a sneaky character. You wait silent and still as the figures search. They split and drift across the bay. You take the chance, sliding open the panel and slipping behind the scrap and box at the edge of the room. You work your way around until you can't get any further. You kick off hard, making a dash for the far side of the bay and the public passage beyond. There's a hiss and the guttural shatter of a pressure valve as an air bike pulls up beside you in the passage. Cadet leans over and grabs the collar of your coat. Hop on. In a moment, you're on the back of the air bike, clutching the strap of the cadet's bag as she guns it down the passage, the air resistance almost ripping you from the fin seat. Lean against her back and let out a sigh, the dry press ring into your ribs beneath your jacket. You did it. Little eye back there? Cadet's voice brings you back from the hypnotic rhythm of the tunnel lights rushing past the airbike. Slows the bike with a rapid series of hisses, and you realize she has brought you back to the passage outside Bliss's Bay. Try to understand the route she took, a long loop through the branching transit tunnels of the station, but give up. And let go now. She straighens up and you unhook your fingers from her bag strap, separating yourself from her back. You push off the bike gently and float in the passage beside her. You okay? You look pretty rough back there, she smiles. Appreciate you putting it all on the line for me. All good. She nods. You got to drive then? The fish you drive out of your jacket and hand it over. That's the one, she squints at it. Should have shucked it when I had a chance. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna try and do. Get your first good look at it, and there's not much to see. A small lump of solid state memory with a few markers on the case. You spot a yellow hex among them. Export. What now? She wings, slides her bag around the shoulder to the front and slots the drive neatly into her pocket. I know someone in the scatter yards who can crack anything. She'll be my first port of call to crack this thing open. She stretches her shoulders. I should make myself scarce from the spindle anyway. Before those dickheads catch up with me. Come with us. Appreciate the offer, but I think it's best if we go our separate ways for now. 2 targets are harder to track than one. She cycles the pressure valve on the bike impatiently. Gunnar leans away from her bike, squinting out of the viewing window at your ship behind. That yours? She doesn't wait for an answer. If I'm not mistaken, that old thing is going to struggle to reach the scatter yards, unless you added a hazmat suit. Hazmat? Yeah, belt between here and scatter yards is drowning in debris, worse than since Hexport. You need hazard navigation to make the crossing safely. Gothic Syndicate created the tech to help their tankers cross the belt. Common knowledge, Cadet nods at your ship. Maybe if you head up to Wellspring you can bother or steal a suit, she adds casually. Here, Cadet unties a bag leash to her bike frame and holds it out to you. Not enough here for a refit, but maybe you'll find some use for it. Take the bag and something clinks inside it as you do. You open it to see a couple of engine components. Gonna use them to boost her, she taps the frame of the airbike, but you deserve them. He meets your eye and looks away. Not gonna be doing any runs for a while anyway. Thanks. It's nothing. Like I said, you deserve them. Flex her fingers on the bike's handles, eager to be away. Cadet's airbike stutters and purrs, trembling in the air like an arrow ready to be loosed. See you around. She wings and guns the throttle, zipping off down the passage with a pulse of air that ripples through your clothes. You stare after her as she goes, the bag of components still hanging from your hand. You realize as you look down the passage that you never asked how Cadet plans to get to the scatter yards. That question, like a score of others, will have to wait until you run into her next. Although, you have a feeling she will find a way to slip away before you can ask them next time too. You head back towards the ship to stow the components, idly wondering if you could justify buying an airbike to Seraphine as you do so. Okay, let's see. I this next then. Or I should really get these. It helps so much having those. Let's see what we have here then. We have a hidden wreck. But I kinda need to where how are we with these? Yeah, I think we're gonna travel to Flotsam. We should be able to, if you go to Flotsam, then Helium Gate and then to Greenbelt. We need to meet her over there, but we need this damn thing. There's nothing we can buy here, is it? Let's see. I don't think there's anything else for it to do here now. Right. Okay, so let's see. We are gonna go to... I don't know if I want to do this one right now, because we need to leave this place and then come back here. It's hard to tell where Flotsam ends and the ships parked at as many docking bridges begin. The Seraphim docked with the station and realized that the rig now looks like just another piece of accumulated technology. One more bit of driftwood added to the raft. I love this place, Seraphine smiles as she shuts down the engines. You never know what you find. You've been here before? Yeah, back when I first came to the belt, the crew I signed on with used to run salvage jobs out of here. Fun place to spend your wages. You see the Bliss eye in the station with what looks like both horror and fascination. You see the seals? They point out some twisted assemblage of ship parts, total cowboy welts. They could pop any moment. Seraphine waves away the concerns. Oh, that's just the outer layer. I heard there's 6 or 7 in all, so if one fails, it's no problem. Stretches and turns to you. You gotta taste some of the stuff they grow in old Takahe. He kisses his fingers. That's the good shit. Oh great, Bliss sighs. So many layers of redundancy and fallbacks that you have no hope of isolating a leak and fixing. They wrap on the wall of the rig. It sounds like a ship I know. Defender rig. Then our friend joins in, the two of you shoulder to shoulder. She got you out here, didn't she? He shrugs a Bliss, no sense of gratitude. I was joking. Bliss looks a little hurt and drifts out to the cockpit, shaking their head. You got to follow, but Seraphine puts a hand on your shoulder. Sleeper? He looks suddenly serious. Remember what I said about getting checked out? There are artificers all over this place. You'll take a bit of search, but we need to know what's going on with you. He meets your eye. That's why we're here. Good, Seraphine nods. Let me know what they say. I'm gonna go see if any of my old haunts are still open. He's out to the cockpit with a mock salute. Catch you later. We're left alone in the cockpit with a view of Flotsam's chaotic structure. You look over the multicolored plating. It does, you admit, have a certain charm. So, yeah, that's it. Risky, come on, glitched. Buy fuel. Let's refill fuel. Payment scrap plus components. So the problem I have right now, because I assume when we go out there in the area, I wonder if this cycle counts. If one goes out to do one of these hauls. Because if that does, then it's not worth going Then it's not worth doing contracts at all. I get it, so we have it. Okay, I need to end the cycle. The chaos of lots of intrigues. You pass it is the most incoherent place you have ever visited. Plating, cladding, and cushioning of all kinds of conditions hides a forest of wires and ducts, interfacing in ways their manufacturers would never dream possible. Rooms of crushed cargo bays, flipped bridges, and eviscerated engine rooms. Patchwork corridors are lumped with messy welds, bending worryingly along their length. It is, to put it nicely, a total mess. It's not that you don't like it, but finding an artificer among this chaos has been more than a little challenging. This cycle searching these winding passages once more, seeing only scrap merchants and junk shop, you have begun to wonder if Seraphine had any idea what he was talking about when he advised you to come here. A sleeper, the voice cut through the pungent ear. Well, I never. Jean Me. You glance in the voice direction and find yourself looking at a small booth piled with tech. Behind a fogged and scratched plastic screen is a meticulously arranged counter, the only clear spot in sight. At it, an older man with wet and wondering eyes sits neatly. Excuse me? The man's eyes widen. Apologies. I wasn't sure you would even hear me. Then me tilts his head. I didn't mean to be rude. Please. And he bows a little. That's okay. He smiles warmly, almost bowing again, his hunched shoulders accentuating the movement. How? He pauses, taking care with his speech now. How are you feeling, sleeper? He beckons you a little closer. I am John Michel. So please, to you, John Me. I work with machines. He sweeps a hand above his counter where you see configurations of tiny parts, mostly small ones. He smiles. I'm not great. Of course, he shops with his hand to indicate a stool with a leg bar meant for perching beside his counter. And such is the clarity and persuasiveness of his movement that you obligingly sit. Your presence is a rare honor here. He smiles and looks down into his lap. I'm sorry if I make you uncomfortable. I'm just very pleased to see you. Can I help you with something? I was more imagining I could help you. I can see your journey to me has not been easy, he says, with genuine concern. You track his eyes across your body, noticing the scuff marks on your thick, vinyl-like skin, the replaced and broken parts of your body. The marks of violence. You pull your jacket a little tighter. Rami folds his hands one over the other and places them on the counter. I do not know what your experiences have been, but I want to assure you that I see you as a person, a being, a soul, shall we say, as valid as any other. You look at John Me, his own age and wear also evident. A life of precious and careful work shaping his body into a reflection of his process. You note his unconfident way of speaking, which betrays a certain loneliness, a lack of practice, It is his turn to feel observed. I understand. You're kind. The frankness of the remark takes you by surprise. He looks down at his counter and begins to take apart a tiny piece of machinery that sits there. Many years ago, when I began my apprenticeship, I would find that whenever I saw something that, how to say, was not working well, I was fixated on it and its repair. He tinkers with the part, twisting them precisely. Of course, the belt is filled with this kind of dysfunctional detail. And so I was busy for many years with these small fixings. He smiles in reminiscence. But now I found that when I'm interested in a thing that is not working as it should, he sharply twists one of the parts between his fingers. It is because it might have some quality not yet foreseen or discovered. He realizes the altered object into the air where it balletically twists in a hypnotic display, like a spinning top whose movements are totally unpredictable. Yomi smiles at you watching his hypnotic toy. I can see that you are in process of becoming Sleeper. He catches the spinning toy between a finger and a thumb. Let me aid you in this. What do you mean? Jean-Mi's precise hands drop to a device around his neck. He deftly pulls a pair of goggles up to his face, masking his wet eyes. Hold still, Sleeper. Something flickers inside the goggles, their face blank. Jean-Mi's hands play across buttons and switches on the exterior, tuning, focusing. Let him work. When the goggles are finally lowered, they reveal a look of concern on Jean-Mi's face. I think you better come inside. He kicks up from his desk and disappears. A moment later, you hear a rattle and a small bulkhead door beside the booth that you had assumed was rusted shut creaks open. Jean-Mi beckons you inside. Jean-Mi's workshop is even more cramped than you expected. As you enter, you're surrounded on all sides with netting holding bundles and bundles of terminals, servers, drives, and cables. At its center, a padded seat and a set of articulated arms mounted with sensors and tools will fill the space. A seat, please. You must add it with a polite smile. You sit. Tentatively settle on the seat, slipping your arms and feet into the straps meant to keep you from floating out of it in 0G. Jean-Mi floats beside you. He looks across your body. There's a damage here. I see that. We will get to that. But I see something else here as well. This is why you came. Looks at you solemnly. Yes. Though I never met a Sleeper, I have studied them. I was lucky to acquire some materials from SNARP some time ago, in the interest of my own endeavors. He begins arranging a series of sensors around you on articulated arms. You are pleasingly distinct from those materials. His eyes flash with excitement. Am I right in thinking you have been modified? I rebooted myself. Yes, I see that your dependency on stabilizer on the immune recoding portion of its makeup at least has been broken. He gives you a precise look, but that is not all. You are physically modified, not externally but internally. He carefully positions the final sensor. The tracker is disabled, which makes it impossible for SNARP to find you. Congratulations, he smiles broadly. But that is not all. You have been modified, yes, but you are also being modified as we speak. You feel a strange claustrophobia at the Jean-Mi's statement. Modified? Seraphine rebooted your system, ran a recoding protocol, but that shouldn't have physically changed you. Only removed your planned obsolescence. How? Jean-Mi goes to a terminal and flicks a switch. Through the back of the translucent screen, you see a nodal web in the vague shape of a ceiling body. Your body. These changes appear to be complex, subtle, but consistent. Jean-Mi goes silent as he taps at the terminal, the representation of your body rotating and folding in unsettling motions. How is this happening? Oh, it's a good question, he squints. How? I am unsure of. See here, he points at a flickering representation of his spine, tracing a line towards your head. Your nervous system is growing additional nodal points here and here. Meanwhile, your emulation interface is growing an umbilical access port. Though towards what end, I am unsure. You instinctively reach back and touch the base of your head. As you do, the scan flickers and screeches with noise. You feel for something there growing under your thick vinyl skin. Can you feel a lump? Or is that just your imagination? You pick at it. Jean-Mi sighs and shuts off the terminal. The changes are partial and, in all honesty, he gestures sharply at the sensors. The resolution is too poor. I need to run a full diagnostic, but for that I would need... Moves over to another terminal and brings up screens and screens of text and diagrams. Yes, some kind of medium to hold your suspended emulation. The access jack I can build myself, but we need to bridge your emulation. Jean-Mi speaks quietly, almost to himself. Chip mine would be ideal for this. Would have to be high capacity, a prime chip mine, Solheim in origin. Perhaps a helium gate might hold records of any that were in the system. He taps at the terminal. Jean-Mi turns back to you. Yes, the prime chip mine is essential if you wish further investigations to be done. I will need this above all. He thumbs the terminal off. I am sorry to say, Sleeper. Can't you tell me more? Accurately? No. He measures his fingers in front of his chest. It is clear that the process has begun, but it's yet to complete. Jean-Mi busies himself with taking down the sensors and folding away the articulated arms. As he does, you try to calm yourself. You feel as if you have worms under your skin, and it takes all your focus not to pick at its seams. Jean-Mi suddenly but gently places a hand on yours. Please, remain calm. He puts a carefully restored rear component in your hand. This can help you. Jean-Mi waits for you to fall still. Then he leans back a little, revealing some of the strange intimacy of the moment. For now, our work is concluded. You measure his fingers again and bows with a small head bob, but you're welcome anytime. Thank you. Of course. His manner seems to have returned to something more businesslike, a humble man who knows his customers' needs. You get up from the seat a little dazed and push away into the passage. Safe travels, Sleeper. Jean-Mi says quietly, placing the promised list in your hand as he lets you back into the station. You leave dazed and unsure how you feel about the insistence of this man's particular kindness. But most of all haunted by the idea of the unseen processes that are running within you. Part of you does not wish to know anything further, to leave this place and never look back. And another is desperate to immediately retrieve every object on this list so that you may know what the strangeness is happening within you. For now, you must steady yourself and find a way to continue. Everything comes to find you in your bunk. After Jean-Mi's assessment, you find yourself drifting back to the rig in need of the familiarity and comfort of your own ship. Sleeper? He drifts in. You found an artificer? He hovers by the door, looking concerned. Explain. Tell me about Jean-Mi, how he offered your repairs and read an assessment of your frame. You described the cramped booth, the articulated arms, the strangeness of seeing your own body anatomized upon the terminal screen. And you tell him that your body is changing, growing in ways that Jean-Mi cannot identify. That some process has been started and you do not know where it will end. You mention umbilical ports and nodal points, trying your best to remember the details of the things Jean-Mi asked you to retrieve. Everything grows pale and silent. He shakes his head when you stop talking. Lane, he frowns. That piece of shit has to be behind this. Perhaps. For sure. Everything looks stubbornly at the floor. We'll get what you need. We'll find that ship mine. He nods. A bit of work here and there and we can make it to the helium gate and whatever else. What about your stuff? We'll do that too, he thumbs the wall. We free sleep, but no one can stop us. Say the word, okay? He goes goes quiet. Don't give up on yourself just yet, he smiles. Get up and get back to it. With that, he turns and kicks off down the corridor, disappearing from sight. You wait a little while, staring at the stained ceiling of the bunks, letting the thoughts settle in your mind. And then, when you're ready, you get up and leave, dazed but with the stony determination growing in your chest. Okay, so let's see, we have this shop, we need a hive mind for that. We can get, yeah, we need that, by the way. We got that contract, okay. So, what's this then? Buy engine components. Do some work and get some money, I guess. And get some raw scrap, okay. So what does this one do? Get some money. Okay, made a little bit of money, and we can sell there. Can't sell any scrap or anything here. We have to go back to previous place for that though. So I'm curious about this now though. Okay, so it actually removes when traveling diesel things. Okay. Yeah, let's go and do this. Keep your hands where I can see him, the voice cracks over the open channel of your suit comms as you near the stranded rig. Slow your approach as little as you move towards the ship, its shape lumpy and skeletal in the distant light of the sun. A warm welcome, bodes well for the rest of the job, Liz shoots you a concerned look. You look up at the stranded ship ahead, clearly you're feeling a bit exposed. You're here to help. Well, I figured that, the voice retorts, otherwise I would have put a hole in that shiny rig of yours already. You arrive at the side of the rig, inspecting the damage as you do. Half the hull plating and big chunks of the internal structure seems to be missing, but you have a feeling that it's not what you're here to fix. The airlock opens, you move inside the interior, all exposed wires and metal framework. The systems wheeze and shudder as it cycles. Nothing of value here, so if you're looking to steal something, you're welcome to it. Alma greets you plainly inside the rig. You do the work that's needed, and I'll let you take your half of the haul. Understood. Well, alright then. Her face is placid and unchanging as a rock. Here's the short of it. Engine's conked out on me, and I'm no engineer. Can usually get her going, but this time no dice. Looks between you and the rest of the crew. Surprised there's so many of you, to be honest. Chris smiles sympathetically. Sorry about that, but don't worry. I worked on these engines before. I give Alma a wink. I can handle it. This. Don't be so sure. Alma leads you towards the engine room. The layout of a rig much the same as yours. The girl is sensitive type. You need to know how to handle her. Central corridor of the ship snakes in a way that isn't familiar to you, and you realize that this rig is far more heavily modified than your own. Something that becomes all the more obvious when you arrive in the engine room. Rather than the rig's stock engine, a singular block and double turbine with feed lines between, Alma's engine is a mess of piping and feed lines linking up multiple rogue components welded to the interior frame of the room. Her eyes widen at the sight. Been adding to her since I was young, Alma smiles at the chaos. Might look like a mess, but she purrs when she's running. Liz is shaking their head slowly. Oh, sleeper. The little puff of it. This is going to be special. You struggle to tell if they are intimidated or impressed. Perhaps it's a little bit of both. That's about all of it, Alma gestures to the exploded engine. Get her running and you'll get your half of the haul. Do what we can. Hope you aren't time wasters, Alma squints at you. You certainly are a strange crew. Alma glides over to window set in the side of the engine room and points to the corroded remains of a facility deep in the asteroid's loose, dusty surface. That there's the hole, she taps on the glass. As good a find as I have seen. The hole is a building? Building and all that's in it, Alma screws up her face. What? You too good for scrapping? Alright, the building's mine. Scrapper's claim. Alma scratches at her mess of hair. But you help me get her running and you're welcome to take what you want from it. Up to a maximum of 50% of raw mass, that's it. We have to extract it ourselves. It looks at you up and down and you feel the first acknowledgement of you being a sleeper. I doubt that it will trouble one of you. Anyway, you're leaving with nothing unless my girl here is back in shape by the time you're done. She folds her arms across the chest, so get to it. Turn back to the engine, your eyes tracing the madness of the interlocking systems. You're starting to have the horrible feeling that this contract is some kind of elaborate joke. Okay, let's see. Here. No. Wrong ship. Yeah, should be fine. 75% chance, and it goes and do that. Okay. There's a hiss and a rush of stale air as the sealed bay deep in the facility tunnels opens for the first time in years. Beams of his suit lamps reach into the dark, picking up waves of dust and debris that reveal a small bay big enough for a shuttle, but not a rig like yours. You glide inside, those same beams catch on the frame of something that sits at the center of the bay. It's wide and flat with a cylindrical center section that runs its length. You move around it, looking at the section of plates and open frame, you realize it is a ship, or at least it was. This frame, filled with rusty components and partially covered with old hull plates, suggests a fast ship, an arrowhead designed to cut through debris and even atmosphere. You float up a little to see it into its central cylinder, and your lamps reveal a cockpit outfitted for two people and one sat behind the other. The seats are carefully upholstered, and you realize this was a labor of love. The whole ship, in fact, seems built by hand and custom modeled with little function out there beyond looping around asteroids for the thrill of it. Looking closer, brushing away the surface corrosion, you see flames painted on the hull plates in curling patterns. The brushstrokes visible even after what must be many years. As you inspect the half-finished ship, a sense of quiet wonder keeping you silent, you notice a glint towards its rear. You approach it and see an engine, all interlocking tubes and flared vents. It is unlike any of you have ever seen. But the holes in its sides suggest it may never have been finished. The holes are the source of the glint. You reach in and pull out some strange-looking engine components, each pristine and complex. You hesitate for a moment, suddenly feeling like you shouldn't be disturbing such an intimate object. It occurs to you that nothing would please the person who built the ship more than seeing those handmade components put to use. You secure them to your suit and push away from the ship. To leave the bay, you turn and take one last look at the treasure inside. Possible that he never flew, or perhaps he was in the middle of an extensive refit when this place was abandoned. Either way, his flying years have long since passed, and now with the bay open, it will corrode much faster, melding with the anonymized scrap of this place in mere cycles. You suppress a shiver, then start to journey back up to the surface, aware of the components dangling at your side. You all gather in Elmo's rig to see the engine tested. The engine room purrs and chitters. It seems to warm with the sound of the engine, with the polyrhythmic vibrations that rattle through the open framework of the interior. You look over to Elmo and you see her eyes are closed, a small tremble at the corner of her mouth. You look at the engine, Elmo's engine, an object that you have to come to respect over the past cycles, even if you haven't necessarily grown to love it. It is, as you see it now, a difficult thing to love. Whole parts of it make little sense, and its oldest systems, those now bypassed and made obsolete by newer additions, still somehow play an integral role you don't understand. It is unwieldy and unnecessarily so, and the accumulation of parts and patches from its long service makes it surprisingly fragile. Meanwhile, other sections have been welded and rewelded so many times that they are impregnable and will never be able to replace. It is uncooperative and prone to sudden outbursts of cooling fluid or even fuel. It is restless and begins to leak when left idle for too long. It is always too cold or too hot thanks to the coolant and the fuel, and it is hard to predict which it will be at any given moment. And yet, despite all this, it is an object you feel close to, that you feel a kinship with, because in the end, you, too, are an accumulation of broken parts long outliving their operational limits. You, too, are a machine that has become a story, and a story that has grown beyond the ability of others to understand it. You look over to Alma again, and Bliss is there beside her. You can see they are talking, but with the engine running, you cannot hear them. You watch for a moment, Bliss now patiently listening as, in faltering words, Alma explains something to them. Bliss nods and then suddenly they embrace gently and with care. Bliss pushes back, and as soon as the moment has passed, it seems like it might not have happened at all. Nothing in the two figures' attitudes betrays the act, and the room seems unchanged. Try to remember if you have seen them speaking before now, and you recall there are many moments when you were not with Bliss. As you watch Alma approach, you realize the engine is not just special to you, and that between her and Bliss, it might have been the bridge to a unique kind of respect. That's the job, Sleeper. Alma approaches you from the other side of the room, and you know where the payment is to be found. I believe that brings our business to an end, Alma scratched her head, unless you have something to add. What will you do now? I believe that's my business, she bristles at the question. I need to find somewhere quiet to resupply and so on. But I don't think you would like my usual haunts, she gives you a sly look. I appreciate the assistance. You're welcome to take what you want from the hangar if you haven't already. You see a knowing shimmer in her eyes. Now I must kindly ask you to leave my ship. As the arrow cycles, you look across the Bliss and swear you see a tear in her eye. You okay? Bliss turns to you and as if they forgot you were there. I'm good, Sleeper. Really good. They sniff. This place reminds me of why I do what I do, why I fix things. They look ahead. There's beauty in it. You find yourself drifting away from Alma's rig in a haze of thoughts. It's clear to you at this point that Alma's history is written all over this place, but more than that, well, you can't be sure. This story, it seems, isn't for you. You realize as you gaze at the broken remains of the facility that Alma never took any of her half of the haul. Turn back and squint at the cockpit of her rig. You see her there, looking out across this wasteland, still as a statue. It's an image that, as you load into the rig and begin the preparation to depart, will stick with you. One that, every time you enter the engine room of your ship, a room almost identical to the engine room of Alma's rig will leap into your mind. A woman floating above the wreck of what was once her home, looking for a reason to keep going. Okay. We are done here. Map. What do we get for doing this? I don't know if this is worth it though. Some money. Let's see. Whee! Helium gate hangs over the rig. Its corroded arches resemble the dislocated vertebrae of some vast, long dead serpent. That's one big, ugly scrap pile, Seraphine whistles from the pilot seat. Solheim didn't like to build them small. What was it for? Seraphine shakes his head. System's biggest door, only opened if you ask nicely. Got to be big if you want to fit every ship that visits the system through it. Bliss cuts in from the back of the cockpit. Impressive, really? Building something so massive out there. Told him like to impress visitors, sure. Seraphine leans forward, looking for the best place to enter the structure. But they also like to scan entire ships and impound those that didn't enter through the gate. Seraphine catches your eye, looking for some agreement. Not the most admirable qualities. Solheim was a curse on this system. Seraphine nods. Better off without them, that's for sure. I agree, but without them, this system would just be two gas giants and a load of rocks. No harm in recognizing it. You look out to the cockpit towards the gate, its layers of system rooms slowly opening into the void, peeling away cycle after cycle to reveal the bones beneath. This is where John Mee mentioned you might be able to find the location of a ship with a prime ship mine. Among the old shipping manifests and Solheim records, you look over the towering structure of the gate. This is going to take some work. Suddenly a flash high up on the gate catches your eye. A light turning on and off again for a moment. You lose track of it. This place inhabited? Seraphine raises an eyebrow. I doubt it. He winks and smiles. You hoping for a station side bar? I have a feeling you'll be disappointed unless we find an executive's old liquor cabinet. Bliss pats you on the shoulder and drifts out to the cockpit. Come to see what secrets the gate has left. Okay, I think we're gonna do this one first. And one last one. Scrap, huh? Also one only? Yeah, we're gonna have to do that one. Definitely. Oh. You have to end the cycle. Let's see what we got here. We only got 2. No. Danger. Dare to risk that. Oh well. Yeah, man, cycle. Let's use this one. In the dark and airless void of the archive, something flickers. You've been working in the dark, picking through the guts of corroded machines, skimming the data in the corrupted memories, digging through a graveyard in search of ghosts. Now with another flicker, the place begins to come back to life. All along the rows of benches, some of them crushed by fallen ceiling panels, terminals begin to flicker into uneasy life. Cacophony of distorted sounds accompany the machines, and some of them immediately glitch and spark. Did you do this? You stand frozen as the archive glitters around you with a million shipping entries. The stream of information is overwhelming, node graphs drawing out routes and inventories tracing a web around you in pale cyan. Suddenly all shut off, the terminals blinking out together, leaving a single translucent screen glowing softly in the dim room. And in that dim room, drifted towards you after dark, you see a figure. Is this what you're looking for? The voice crackles aggressively through your suit's local comms. Who are you? Sleeper. That you? You hear Junie's voice now, tense and unsure. He stops beside the single online terminal, her suited form lit in pale light. Junie! You hear the smile in her voice. Good to see you again. She pauses and glances around. But the venue is a little uninspected. I'm looking for a ship mine. She strikes. Well, yes, I can see that. I've been digging through the archives myself, although slightly less forcefully than you. I did have this whole speech prepared for whatever savager was ripping through these archives so messily, not to mention aggressively, but now that I know it was you, well, I'm just glad to see you. Although you really need to be more careful, you could have taken the entire archive down the way you were working with it. These machines are decades old, you can't just rifle through them like they were a scrap pile. I saw the pattern of your queries, a prime shipment equipped ship, still operational at the collapse, last located in the region around Alien Gate. You can feel how pleased she is with herself from here. That about right? Nicely done. She nods. Would you expect anything else? That's why I did the hard work for you. Junie beckons you over to the lone lit up terminal. You drift over and see a single point, a faded transmit trail beside it, sunward from the Alien Gate. Something like this, maybe? She smiles and steps aside so you can see the screen. You check the info panel beside the map. Ship mine in use. Abandoned by all hands after the collapse. Tantalizingly in reach. Something like that. He shrugs. Well then, it's yours. But, Junie turns and in the glow of the terminal meets your eyes with complete certainty. The question is, what do you want for it? Explain about your body. You tell her what Jimmy told you about your shifting body transformed by some unknown influence. But the need for a prime ship mine to house your emulated mind while he runs a diagnostic process. She is silent for a moment, unsure how to respond. I'm sorry, Sleeper, but I think I can help you. I want to come with you. Junie gives you a strong look. Do you know how often someone gets out to one of those old Solheim wrecks? They're more trouble than they're worth, but contained inside there's an entire history to uncover. Uncover in steel, you mean? Well, I need that ship mine. You're welcome to it, she pauses. I promise to help you get what you need and not to get in your way. I've learned my lesson, she looks away. I know I can't force you or trick you into taking me. That's why I wanted to offer you this instead. She indicates the terminal still showing the ship's final resting place. I hope that maybe if I helped you find what you needed, it would show I can be trusted. I trust you. She smiles. Thank you for saying so. I'll send the coordinates to your ship and I'll be hanging around the gate until you're ready to leave. She shifts in front of the terminal, plugs in her deck, tapping away at rapid speed. Don't worry, if you go without me, I'll get the message she strikes. You won't see me again. That you leave her in the archive, extracting data as you ascend back to Helium Gate's upper levels. Problem here is, I don't have food. Enough for that. Unless it is some in these. We need a fuel too. Just taking a risk. Well, we need the fuel here. What we could do is we could come on, one more. Nice. So let's see. So we could go here. Then we can come back here. And we use up all our fuel.